surviving on like 3 or 3.5 hours of sleep a night for eternity. Is she farting?
Well, somebody's farting. It's not me.
That's not me either. So anyway.
All right. So, well, here we are. Are we recording?
We are. Now we are. Now we are.
That's great. Okay. So it feels like it's been a coon's age since we did this.
How long does a coon live?
I don't know. Well,
did you know that raccoons will drown dogs? I just found that out.
They're really mean sons of bitches. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just found out when you texted me, and I said I'm out with my family that here. And my aunt was talking about that. She goes, yeah, depending upon the size of the coon and the dog, she goes, raccoons will actually drown a dog in a swimming pool. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they have really sharp paws.
But they will they'll get on top and purposefully adjust their weight so the dog and keep moving around so the dog can't get their heads above the water.
Well, imagine they feel threatened in some way.
I have no idea they're murder rats. Well, I am.
Yeah, we're used to Rocket. We're just used to Rocket,
and he murders everybody.
Yeah, they've. I mean, like I had a friend once that told me they had to save a dog from a raccoon, and I had a hard time believing it. But I think they're just kind of nasty varmints, So.
They're murder coons.
No, they don't live very long because maybe they'd live longer if they didn't get in everybody's face.
Stay out of the trash cans.
Yeah, trash pandas.
It's what they are. Now look at her. She's over. So she heard you and said there's a sofa over there, but look at her.
Yeah. Well,
you can't turn around.
Well, I don't want to. I'm busy. We're working.
Oh, no. I was just saying you can't.
Oh, she's under the pillow. That's cute. That's real cute. Yeah.
All right. So we have 18 hours of stuff to go over in the next.
All right. But, the last time we were basically in front of the microphone was June 3rd. That was the mini con.
Yep.
And do you want to debrief it all on the mini con?
Nope, because it's ready to publish. Finally.
Well, it was a good day. I had a good day.
It was, and it was just a lot of. I'm never gonna do it that way again. As far as trying to do. If we ever do something with video again, I think we're gonna completely do it differently because there was just way too much editing that had to be done on that thing to get it to work. Our audio sucked. I mean, everything just. But it was a learning experience. So.
Yeah, we had basically adjudicated it as a learning experience.
True.
Yeah, and that was our.
And the thing that sucked the most was the fact that they didn't have, and I was concerned about any kind of stable Wi-Fi.
Right.
So that's what. So we had audio problems, as you knew, and where we would be going along. Excuse me, and find out we're not broadcasting a damn thing. We weren't broadcasting anything. Well, but we were using two devices, so it still recorded it. So I had to go back and on the video because I pulled the video off of YouTube, and so where the video was there with no audio, then I took the audio that was recorded from this and spliced it in there.
Wow.
So that's part of what took me a while because I have a real job too. So as do you. So
I don't know how to do any of that. Part of the bigger issue is I don't know how to do that shit.
Right. No, I'm and I understand that. But I'm just saying, having that happen then on top of it all, it was it was a fucking editing mess.
Well, I mean, it really didn't help that they obviously didn't have a stable power grid in the AMVETs because, every time the air conditioner kicked in, I
forgot about that.
It was like a rolling blackout in there.
I completely forgot about that part.
I mean, that's part of the issue. You don't know those things before you go. You don't know those things before we go. So, right.
So.
All right. So, well, anyway, I had a good day. I really enjoyed myself at that little con, which might never happen again.
They need to stop calling it a con because that's not what it is by any stretch of the imagination. We came up with some good ideas, though, what it could be called.
It was a fun day.
It was not a bad day at all.
Fun day.
Nope.
All right. So in the interim, we've been watching Silo, and I feel as if we talked about at least one episode of Silo, but maybe we didn't.
And I didn't think we did, but that's fine. We can pick up. I was going to pull we didn't start having that conversation until right before we came down here. So had I known that was going to be a test question, I would have checked. But
no, don't worry
about it.
It
doesn't matter. And if we talked about something, we talk about it twice. Whatever we talk about it twice. It's a good show.
We've finished. We've wrapped season 1, and Scott has started reading the books. So
because I was just curious where because Foundation, the TV show, is evidently so much different than Foundation, the books. And, just the way that they're doing their creative, what is it? Creative,
I don't know.
want to say licensing, but that's not it. Yeah, I mean, they're
taking creative license is the way.
Yes, so that is the right term.
And I'm sure that's pissing off all those readers of those books, because I know a lot of people felt like that book was not really able to be adapted to film.
There's several books too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 3.
The Foundation series.
Yeah, and there were 3 of the original ones. And then he came back and wrote something, that takes place after those 3. And then even did a little something that takes place before the whole thing. And from what I read, that it sounds like they actually pulled some content or some material from those prequels, if you will, into the first season of Foundation.
Oh.
Although we're not here to talk about it. This is going to be the smorgasbord, or the I was going to say Stromboli. This is going to be a podcast casserole that we're doing right now, because
a casserole.
Well, because we're talking about Foundation.
Well, isn't that the way we always are? I mean, don't kid yourself. That's every episode.
What? No, we're always better than that.
No,
we always have this shit tight before we push record.
We don't. We need. You know what we need? We need a formula.
So that's what got me to download the Silo books, because this will be the first time, because you've done all the Game of Thrones stuff, you've read those and everything, and we both, when I found out how much got skipped with House of the Dragon,
right?
Starting that one out, that's kind of like, well, what the fuck? But so that's why I specifically, after the season wrapped, we're talking Silo, jumped over to the books to see, okay, where did they wrap up in correlation? When I want to draw that line over to the books, where are we in the books when they wrapped up?
Yeah.
And they're just, they're probably 3/4 of the way through the first book,
which is called Wool. Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, whatever. And then it was like, oh yeah,
it's related to the cleaning,
because they have a little wool rag to wipe the camera.
Yeah. So
it finishes, the first season of the TV show finishes about 3/4 of the way, 2/3 of the way through the first book of book number 1 of 3.
Yeah.
So they could do 5-6 seasons.
They could, especially now that a season is 10 episodes.
Right.
Right. I mean, I just started. I know you don't like the show and want to talk about it, but I just started rewatching Babylon 5 because there's an animated movie coming out, and then there's possibly another series, a reboot.
Aren't they rebooting that on Peacock?
No.
I thought they were rebooting that on Peacock along with Battlestar Galactica.
No, it's the CW, if you can believe it. It's the CW. It's the CW that's going to reboot Babylon 5.
That's terrible.
Well, possibly, yeah. But, their season 1 of B5 was 22 episodes, and that used to be the standard.
That was the way it always was.
And no wonder there was so many, I would say, creature feature bad episodes in series that had 22.
Half the episodes sucked.
Yeah,
they did, because they were writing shit just to fill airtime.
Well, I want to be ready. I want to be ready for when they reboot Babylon 5, because I really enjoy the show, and I want to talk from a place of knowledge.
Well, here's the deal. Maybe they could reboot it the same way Battlestar was done, in the fact that it was a shitty original series. I know this is not okay. This is from somebody who doesn't.
You're gonna die,
like
Mister.
It was a shitty original series.
It wasn't.
But just let me finish. That, terrible acting, terrible, effects, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I get it, doing everything they can for the time period. That's kind of how Battlestar Galactica was, too. I mean, it was cool, had Cylons and all that kind of happy horse shit, but it was bad acting. The effects were what they could be for the late 70s and all that jazz, because they were trying to ride Star Wars' coattail. But you look at the remake of Battlestar Galactica, and we've said this before. I said, you not even being sci-fi, absolutely one of the best pieces of television ever created, in my mind, was the remake of Battlestar Galactica. who's to say they can't do the same thing with Babylon 5?
Well, after starting to rewatch Babylon 5,
Like nothing can save this mess.
no, I actually don't. I don't think the acting is poor. I think the writing is great. I've been really focusing on costumes. Have been amazing.
You
in
just like
Babylon
it because they had
5.
Tron in it.
What?
You
Tron?
just liked it because they had Tron in it. What's his name that played Tron? In Tron.
Oh, Bruce Boxleitner.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's not the first captain.
He's not.
He's not. No.
No, he's not.
He is-
That wasn't the question. I was aware of that.
He's a captain at some point, but he's not.
No,
at
the first guy
one.
lasted like the first season or
Yeah,
something.
he
right?
is a real dud. I'm really struggling with him. I can see why he was replaced. He's not good. But I mean, this is why I'm rewatching it, because I don't feel like I was really invested in first or second season. But yeah.
Anyway, hey, maybe like I said, maybe they'll catch some of that magic like they did with Battlestar Galactica,
Maybe. I'm sure it'll be better just because they got better tech.
which would be cool. And if it was cool, if it was good, I'd watch it.
Yeah, you're probably not going to watch it.
If it's
We'll
good,
see.
I'd watch it. You think I would just not watch it because I was like, wow, I hated the first one so bad.
Well, I do that.
I'm literally gonna not watch good sci-fi or
I do
good
that
television
sometimes.
because I have I know, but you have a cross to bear with everybody. You get your. You're like my mother. You get pissed off and you're like, you hold a grudge.
You need to stop comparing me to your mother. That's getting creepy. Yeah, it's 3 times today now.
It was actually okay. I think it was twice, and in one sitting.
Pre-podcast.
And the first time ever in the history of us knowing each other.
Oh,
and it was only
jeez.
because I said, "Wow, my mother does that too."
Anyway, it's
Let's
getting
talk
very
about my
like
mom.
Freudian.
Let's talk about my mom for a while.
No,
So
that's not a good idea.
and
No,
just so people realize what we were talking about, it had to do with cooking steak and to what degree steak got cooked.
I like your mom. I
love my
want
mom
like
too.
your mom. I don't want to throw her under the
Let's,
bus. Dude, that's what we were talking
And that's
about.
what we were talking about. So you were talking about your mom too. Actually, the story started with you talking about your
Yeah,
mom.
I started with
and I
my
brought
mom.
my mom in ancillary to the discussion. She was like a footnote to your discussion.
But your mom could still hypothetically hear the podcast and get upset.
Well, you just have to yell louder.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, she probably would get upset. Nah, she wouldn't get upset. She's got more shit to worry about.
All right. Well,
She's got to
let's
take care of my dad.
Let's get back to silos. So,
My dad's going to Africa this week.
wow. Whoa. Okay, that's cool.
What's the song? I found the place down in Africa.
The Toto song, Africa.
He's going down there to kill stuff.
Oh, he's going on a safari.
Yep.
Wow. What does he want to bring back?
One of each.
One of each what?
Everything.
Oh, Lord.
I have no idea what he is.
Does he-
You pay. It's like going through 4B's cafeteria 40 years ago, where you take your lunch counter tray and you just kind of slide down the rails, and you grab the Jello out of the little thing.
You mean Bonanza?
No,
Bonanza?
4B's, man.
4Bs? What the hell is 4Bs?
Oh, yeah. See, you weren't not around here. 4B's cafeteria used to be a cafeteria that was in Kirkwood Mall.
Oh, wow. Well, that sounds
And
fun.
it was that typical thing where you'd slide down, you'd have the metal rails, that you slide your tray down, you'd open up the thing and get the green Jello with the Cool Whip on it, or
Oh, yeah.
you get your soda, and you'd get either the hot side or the cool side, get all your little stuff, and then you'd pay at the end when you got done loading shit up on your tray. Then
Did they weigh your plate?
No, it wasn't like BSC for Christ's sakes. That's sad. That's like that's not. Don't tell everybody that everybody's a fucking cow the way it is. They weigh your plate, and that's what you pay.
BSC doesn't weigh plates.
That's what they sure as shit do.
Oh, not anymore.
Bullshit.
No, they just everything's a la carte pricing there now. It's like 99 cents for a breadstick.
Unless you go through the.
I'd rather
it was
weigh
it was
the
like
salad
it was a
bar.
salad bar. They'd weigh your plate.
Maybe.
Anyway, yeah. So 4B's cafeteria. Woo! Right on.
That sounds good.
They have the hot dogs that actually snapped when you ate them. Ooh. The red ones.
Nah, I'm not a Red Dog fan.
Neither's my
That's
mom.
a cheap hot dog.
Funny thing, neither is my mom.
Stop.
Dead serious.
Stop.
My dad and I love them.
Getting creepy.
My sister. I'm just saying.
Well, your mom has good taste. I don't eat Red Dogs either.
Nah, my mom's a good old broad.
And for those of us that might non-local folks that might be listening, there's a specific kind of Cloverdale hot dog called a Red Dog. and it's just like a weird red color, and then when you take it out after you boil them, like the water is red.
Yeah, that's actually like a real first on the planet kind of style hot dog. That's
it's original. It's original. It's red dog. Yep. Yeah. And hey, I will say this: Cloverdale does some really good fundraisers for people, and they donate them, and it's a good thing.
They donate to people?
No, it's not Soylent Green. Red dogs are people. Red dogs are people
too. All
right, back to Silo.
I'll hit pause. Turn around, look.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Dogs be dogs. Jeez. Yeah.
All right, so you're Silo, and you're thinking, well, I'll go take a peek, and you're thinking that we totally might have, but I know we didn't probably go past episode 2.
No, we didn't. I just think, okay, let's where to start with Silo. First of all, I want everyone to know that this is more of a mystery show than science fiction. I feel it's really mysterious. Like who's gonna die?
Still science. I think it's still very much science fiction.
It's like who's gonna die, and it's kind of sort of like who killed who in the board, the billiards room with the candlestick.
Yeah, but it was still very much sci-fi. I was even watching a thing on YouTube the other day that said sci-fi doesn't have to be space.
Oh, I know it doesn't have to be space.
You know what I mean? So this is very much science fiction, but it's science fiction kind of in our daily lives, kind of science fiction.
Yeah, well, I mean,
which is a nice break from space.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I like the show. What was your overall, before we even start? We watched 10 episodes, first season. They're filming season 2 right now. Yeah. What
was your overall, just the biggest thumbs up or thumbs down for season 1?
Well, thumbs up.
Okay.
Good show?
No, all right. No, I'm just trying to, and so I'm going to assume overall that, then that accounts for, if there was some actors that you didn't like, or acting you didn't like, or something you thought was stupid or fake.
No, I mean, this is what I'll say. There was actors that I liked that I didn't get to see a lot of because they were dead by the end of their episode. I mean, it's like they. And
what did the author say about that?
You can quote the author. You can quote the author.
I can't quote him.
He's basically, you said that you heard that the author said, I have to kill off some characters to make room for others.
We were listening to a Q&A.
We're listening to it.
Yeah, you got to kill off some people to make room for other people.
And I don't understand. I don't really think that people that write like that or create worlds like that, where they kill someone every episode or they have a really major incident every episode, they allow their reader or viewer then to go through significant stress, because you kind of are on this sort of like sense of, ooh, who's going to get it this episode? When you kill someone week after week after week. And I've been watching
like
Yellowstone, and it's similar to that. Yellowstone is real similar to that too. Who's gonna get it this week?
Whoever Beth happens to talk to.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of puts you on edge throughout the whole episode. So it's like,
puts you on edge.
It put me on edge. Yeah, it does, because I'm kind of like, every situation is foreboding.
You're thinking no matter what happens, somebody that I may have just gotten to know in this episode is probably going to die.
Yeah, that's the way.
You feel like you're going into each episode like that.
Yeah, like,
because you're like, okay, who's going to get it this time around?
Right.
Okay.
And it kind of makes you uneasy.
Makes you uneasy.
Makes me uneasy. Yeah, it doesn't make you. You apparently don't care that all these actors are dying. We just met them; they're going to die.
No, I don't give a shit if they're going to die, because that's how this podcast started, because the whole point was we're not the ones that write the show. So it's going to unfold how the writers wanted it to.
Yeah,
and that's their business. So there's no reason for me to get wound up about it. I mean, you know what I mean? If somebody's going to die, I mean, Game of Thrones was the same way. The title fucking character dies in the second episode?
Well, I know.
Did he make it up past the first episode? I can't remember.
He didn't.
I mean, so I don't recall
Sean Bean's character,
I think it was the second.
Stark.
I think it was the second episode that he got the axe. Quite literally,
he died very early on. Yeah.
And
it
I
was
I was like, holy shit!
Right.
They killed the because I figured he was like the main character.
Right, but it's sometimes it gets a little old when it's week after week after week and there's another death.
Yeah.
So like let's go back to when they killed the mayor. The older woman who played the mayor had the long gray hair. Do we even know who killed her?
The old gray mare just ain't what she used to be.
Do we even know who killed her? Because I don't remember if they ever figured that out.
There's only the supposition. I don't know what you're talking about. They found her dead in her bathroom, and it looked like natural causes to me.
No, it didn't look like natural causes. She's like bubbling up blood from the mouth. I think someone poisoned her.
She had bubble blood. It's a common occurrence.
Did that come from the water bottle? Was it supposed to be the guy, the deputy that was supposed to die?
We don't. Okay, see, so at this point, I wasn't reading the book. So now actually what I should do is go back. I should actually go back and start from the beginning because I only started reading from where the show left off, like I said.
Oh.
But I'm curious if there's additional detail in the book about that.
Well,
because I'm like you. It from what I know of even the book, it was not further explained. We're assuming that it was Bernard.
Yeah,
Tim
Robbins'
IT.
character.
Yep.
Bernard. His name is Bernard Holland, head of IT.
He's doing a fucking great job in that position.
He always does a great job. Tim Robbins is a good actor.
I love him as an actor. I really do.
He's a really good actor.
That Mission to Mars or Mars movie or whatever it was where they go up there, he was amazing in that. I love that movie.
Yeah, haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, and he looks, he's got a few more years on him, but he is killing this role. Killing it. And that's another reason I did read why some of the actors are getting killed off, like this is like the first episode when you've got multiple people dying. And I read this was the writer of the books. He said with some of these actors that they really, really, really wanted to have in the show, that's the amount of time that they had for them.
Because they couldn't afford them?
No, because of their schedules.
Oh,
some of these actors were just so busy that they could really only get them to be able to shoot a couple episodes worth.
Oh, well, okay. Not
that necessarily changed. That's why I want to go back and start reading. Now that I read from where the show ended, first season ended, and finished that book, now I want to actually go back and read the beginning of the book to find out if some things like that are different. Because we know they starbucked Walker.
The fact that you didn't start at the beginning of the book is alarming to me.
Right.
You didn't start at the beginning?
No. I started where the show stopped.
Why?
Where the TV show stopped. Because the whole point was I was curious where in the first book the show stopped. I thought it was going to be much later in the book. I was thinking that the first season was probably the majority of the book, which I found out it was not. And then when I found out that there was only like a third or a quarter of the book left, where they left off, then it was like, well, why don't I just finish reading that particular story?
Okay. Well,
It makes total sense to a normal person.
Oh, boy. So let's talk about where we are in space and time with this show, because that is something
we're not in space in this show.
Hey, I meant that's space and time as a saying, not
we established science fiction doesn't have to be in space.
And I'm just using a phrase like, okay, so literally we do not know what time.
Colloquialism is what you're looking for.
Oh, brother. So they say the silo has been around for 140 years.
Nope.
And we do not know.
That's not what they said.
140 years.
Since the uprising.
Oh, since the uprising.
They have no idea how long they've been there. They think that they've been there for eons.
Okay. So it's very difficult to pinpoint a time period based on all the shit that's in the silo because it looks like it comes from multiple different decades.
And when you do nothing but ravage and either destroy or hide your history, you have no way of knowing how long you've been there.
Or alter it, because they make repairs and...
No, I mean, as far as how long they've been there?
Yeah. But, so I was thinking about this, because I told you when we were watching it that I was looking...
You do find out in the first book, by the way, how long they've been in there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not clear.
Okay. Well, so when you look at the props in the background, I mean, they're drinking they got mason jars and stuff from the 1800s, and they have a lot of stuff looks like it's from the 1950s.
So can I ask you why you're hooked on the mason jars? Because we use mason jars now.
Right.
And mason jars have been around forever because they just do so many different things beyond, they were designed for food preservation. That's what they were designed for.
Yeah.
And they get used for so many different things now.
Right.
But why are you, because
like drinking beer out of people drink beer and they make redneck wine glasses out of them.
I suppose. Well, but I make yogurt in them in my Instant Pot.
Okay.
Because then I can screw the lids on them. I'm curious I just don't get your deal why the mason jars are such a thing for you when even now they're just a part of society that are used for so many different things.
Well, I've looked at a lot of stuff. I've looked at a lot of background stuff trying to figure out when maybe this silo started and the stuff they brought in came from a certain time period. And what I'm trying to say
very smart thing to do.
is it's all over the place. And I got to thinking about, I use the mason jars as an example of 1800 type jars, stuff like that. But then I was thinking about that damn birth control they've got in that woman that they show out, and it's like this metal cylinder. We don't have any kind of reference to that kind of birth control,
right?
Either back in time or, the closest it comes to is like an IUD.
Okay, so really what it is not your. So if I understand you correctly, not your beef, your what you're mentioning, what you've noticed is not that the fact there are mason jars there, but it's the fact that there are mason jars there, which are old, super duper duper old school tech, and something that we don't even have now.
Right.
Well, the closest thing would probably be an IUD, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
So it's the span of the technology.
Yeah, the span of the technology.
Before we've talked about this, you really kept zoning in on those fucking mason jars.
I was zoning in
they
on them.
were the problem. So it's just the fact that they have everything from mason jars to implantable.
Yeah, that's what I'm
stuff.
saying.
And you're like, okay, so where between those two types of technology are these people?
Well, and we noticed
is that what your kind of thing is? Okay.
And we noticed also differences between computers and computer keyboards when we had the what's that movie that you're always referencing?
The Cabin in the Woods.
The Cabin in the Woods moment.
Yeah.
When we had the Cabin in the Woods moment, because that was a big shocker of a moment where all of a sudden we realized that there is a whole surveillance system and room and people that are watching everyone, and they seem to be years and years ahead of what the silo tech
seemed to be.
is.
And then I was like, oh, I think it is. And then I changed my mind. I didn't think it was. Then when you and I were watching that last episode, I'm like, because I know it's the keyboard.
Yeah.
And the keyboards they were taking on were kind of like nice, flat, chiclet. Yep. It was damn near, like a Mac keyboard, compared to their, TI 99 4A for
They're
people
Apples.
that are out there.
Apple. There was like Apple computers.
Well, it was the equivalent. I mean, the keyboards that they have around the silo, are those ones that the keyboard itself weighs like 10 pounds. The big chunky keys on it that versus a modern keyboard, which they had down in that observation space.
Yeah. So there's all the background. I'm just gonna say the background runs the gamut from every possible decade. If you really look close, because if you start looking at some of their wall furnishings, sometimes it's the 70s and sometimes it's the 30s, and there's just a mixture of all this stuff.
Remember we talked about how everything's got that round kind of to me, that was like 1960s James Bond.
Yeah, you mentioned that too.
Like all the windows, everything have like the rounded corners, and the... Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, it's... but really, truly, that birth control technology, I don't know where that's coming from. That was really interesting when I think about that.
When were IUDs invented, You're a girl.
Well,
you have a...
I believe it
vagina.
was...
You should know this stuff.
Yeah, I would never have put one of them inside of me, but I think around the 60s or 70s.
IUDs?
Yeah,
long ago?
They came out a while ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For fans at home, I'm not using a computer tonight, so to fact check everything Nancy's saying, because I just don't have that much energy.
No, they go back a long time.
Yeah, sure. I don't think they do.
I think they do. But yeah, I don't have my phone either. So
I have my phone, but it's way over there.
what do I know though? I was born in the 70s, so I don't know.
I don't either.
But I think IUDs came before birth control pills. I could be wrong about that.
Oh, see, I think you're totally wrong on that one.
Oh, you
Now I
have
gotta look.
oh, geez. Why do we do this? Why do we do this?
Well, because you said that. Because you made a statement. You committed to something.
Okay. Well, while you're looking up IUD technology, let's talk about that amazing microscope erector set thing that she created. Is you had a take on that. That's Juliet's mom, created.
1909.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? So I was like way off. You were way, way off.
The first IUD was developed in 1909 by German physicist Richard Richter.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah. Jeez. Well,
But you were thinking it was back in the 60s, and I was saying it was no way it was that long ago. So I would actually give that point to you.
well, I didn't know we were taking points.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
yeah. Anyway.
So what now with the...
Well, and then there was a really, really significant episode where Juliet's mom was trying to figure out how to fix a hole in someone's heart because that's how her kid died.
a rabbit's heart.
And so she finds this rabbit, and somehow magically they knew the rabbit had a hole in the heart. And then,
Well, the rabbit was... No, they even said she's wise like the rabbit. She being Jules when she was young, was like not moving and lethargic or whatever. And that's when she said, well, I think there's a problem in her heart. And she's like, oh, like whoever her brother was.
yeah, yeah.
She's like, yeah. So,
But you told me about that. I was like, that's kind of an odd looking microscope, but it was a microscope she made herself out of different
because
parts.
one of the things that they weren't allowed to have was magnification beyond a certain point.
And so like clearly they're anti-science in the silo. They don't want critical thinking. They're anti-science. What's kind of
I would say they're anti too much science. It's not that they're anti-science because they still allow people to go to the hospitals and get shots and get healed and taken care of. It's about going beyond some point, whatever that point is. Same thing, the same. So not having magnifying devices that go beyond a certain power, not having elevators. It has nothing to do with the union.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of...
It's like a little bit.
There's a lot of social control devices built into the society.
Oh.
We pick up on them about every 30 seconds. They're explaining it. But I think the funniest thing was towards the end when Juliet fixes it so everybody can see the truth. We
should probably say spoilers are going to be in this.
Yeah, big time spoilers. I've already said that.
Oh, what's your name, by the way?
Oh, who cares? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Okay.
But
I'm Scott. I
they
care.
when all the cameras turn in on basically the truth, when you figure out what the truth is, Tim Robbins' character says, "What you have just seen, you will unsee."
Oh, okay. So you're talking about when they're down in the janitorial room.
Yeah, when they discover the truth,
and it's showing the beautiful green grass and beautiful blue skies, and the same flock of birds flying past the camera that has every time we've seen what it looks like outside. That same flock of birds flies past the tree.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of... didn't you the first time you saw that beautiful vista think that don't look real?
Yeah, no, the first time I thought it, I figured it was totally real, and I figured it looked like that because man had not been out there fucking it up.
Right.
So I bought into the, wow, it's just green and lush and everything, and it totally makes sense because people aren't out there screwing it up. Mm-hmm. But then the second time I saw the video, which was when they shut the power down.
Yeah.
We saw the little blip, blip, and it was like, I didn't pick up on it for a while. Because even when you watch that episode, I'm like, okay, you need to pay attention here because there was the blip. And then we saw that video. And it wasn't until later, I'm trying to remember the next time we saw it, it was like, wait a minute, there's that same fucking flock of birds that keeps flying in a V shape past the tree. Something's going on.
Right. That don't look right.
And I got it, up until, the last, the penultimate episode, if you will, I never would have guessed that it really is shitty out there and would kill you. But then they had a video that looked the opposite of that, but then in turn still piped in the regular video of what everything looks like outside. I never in a million years would have imagined that video was something that they would pipe in to the helmets of the people that were going to go out and clean.
Yeah.
Because that's how they would get them to clean. Because they were like, everybody's got to see this. Everybody's got to see this. It's great out here.
But have you ever, at one point
I get schnockered.
In this show, have you ever asked yourself why they care if people clean anyway? They don't allow them to go outside. It's basically when you choose to go outside, it's suicide. You've chosen to kill yourself, basically. And nobody knows what happens to people outside. I guess they see them die eventually.
Well, and they want them to clean so that the lens stays clear, so people can still see how shitty it is out there.
They want them to see it.
That part is actually true, although we didn't think it was.
Yeah, so it's like they double crossed us. The story writers double crossed us, and that is
the writer
probably the best part of the whole show.
Is that when we find out that it really isn't pretty and beautiful out there?
When we solve the mystery, because this show is very mysterious all the time.
And I can tell you there are more to come.
When we solve the mystery of what's happening outside, and we know the truth of the big cover-up, and we know that people are actually getting killed, because that's another big spoiler, is they're using, when you see someone go outside to clean, they're putting them in a spacesuit, a helmet, they're wrapping them up with heat tape, and you're wondering, what is it when they get outside that kills them? And we're like, is it the suit? Is it the suit? We were pretty close about that. Because it's
because I had been thinking that maybe they were injecting poison into the suit.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Or that stupid, almost like a flash clean, like an airlock cleaning that they do before you go outside,
which is dumb. What's the point of that?
Yeah, so I was thinking that was the poison.
Yeah,
that would kill a person once they got outside, because they had the poison in that vapor, blast on them before they go outside, blast their shitty suit, that gets inhaled into their system, and then that's what kills them when they get outside in the nice, pretty world.
Yeah,
which is not what happens at all.
No,
but there's still no explanation why they get blasted with that.
Well, I don't know, but it's the heat tape that turns out to be faulty heat tape. And
since episode 1. Not faulty. It's designed that way. Because Bernard's up there and he's like, any minute now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had it down to the minute.
Yep.
How long it would take for somebody once out there for that tape, which was worthless for the outside, whatever it is that's killing everybody outside, to get into the suit and kill them.
Except Sims doesn't seem to know. The guy, Common, the actor Common plays Sims, and he's at Judicial, and he's supposed to be at the highest sort of ranking of knowledge, but he's not. Yeah.
He's trying to become Bernard's shadow, which he's not in the book. Mm. And that's that look at, again, we're back to what's his name, Tim Robbins. When he goes, she knows.
Yep.
And that's and Sims, which you're talking about the comment, she knows what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, fuck, she's figured it out. She knows that she's not seeing the beautiful little world in her visor. Mm-hmm. And then that's when he turns tail and takes off to go down to the server room.
And she doesn't clean. She drops the wool, which was awesome. That was a great moment. She drops it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And stay tuned to our merch store for your very own personal Drop the Wool t-shirt, which will be coming soon.
We have a merch store.
We're going on by the time this comes out. We got our new logo. We got our new brand.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got a new brand.
Ooh, are you gonna get
That'd
a
be
screen printing kit from Amazon?
That's not how you do it. You do third party drop shipping and manufacturers that do it.
Well, I'm glad you know what you're doing.
Yep. So yeah, we'll set a merch store with our logo and drop the wool.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Want to see how many people figure it out?
Well, no one will, but that's okay. But no, let's talk about this pink LED keychain with 18 on it. Do we know what that's all about?
Absolutely, we do.
We do? Do you know it from the book or from the show?
I know, well, from the show, I know from the book. So, but from the show, you remember when they're trying to find that hard drive?
Yeah.
And he asks for, he goes, oh, something, remember the guy that finds it, he goes, something's wrong, the serial number's coming up as 18.
Oh.
And the guy goes, well, it's, he goes, what's the serial number? Tim Robbins, Bernard, what's the serial number? What's the serial number? He goes, this can't be right. It's only, it's only 2 digits long or whatever. And he was like, well, what's, it's 18. He goes, well, that's the serial number. Mm-hmm. And then if you remember the very, 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 very last episode or 2, he had that keychain that would glow sometimes and sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it had the number 18 on the keychain.
Yep.
So you'll either know from reading the books or you will know very soon in the second season what that 18 means.
Well, he unlocks something. He unlocks something with that keychain.
A door.
A door, yeah. Yeah, and that's weird tech too. It's like, what? Yeah.
It's kind of, and I'm trying to think of what other show I've watched recently within the past couple of years where the tech is kind of, because it's meant to be not an alternate reality, but just kind of an alternate way things kind of, were manufactured or came to being. So, their stuff is, I think this is going to go back to your canning jars, is, it's as if they were all walking around using those the brick phones with the black antenna sticking up out of the top.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that is like
they're stuck.
Because they literally, that's really interesting you say that. They are stuck because regardless of when they got into those silos, everything stopped. Mm-hmm. So any technological advancements that had been going on, regardless of what year, on a Gregorian calendar that they may be in, everything stopped the moment they went into those silos and closed the doors. That as far as their level of technology goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real interesting. But that's where I wonder is like, are other people able to go up top and come back down and get back in and bring new tech in? Like,
okay, so go up top and come back down. You're talking within the silo. Uh-huh. But then going out and coming in, I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have we know at the very, very end, we know that Juliet sees a city on the horizon. She makes it. She survives because she has good heat tape. And that's due to her buddy, Walker, which is, I think, an interesting character because she is an agoraphobe. She lives at the very bottom of the silo.
And so is Walker in the books, although it's a guy.
And she lives, and she's afraid to leave, but when she knows she needs to help Juliet, she comes out. She comes out, and she forces herself out. Yep. And that was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. I like that character. But we see at the end, when Juliet's walking around up top, we see more silos.
We see more silos in the city, and I'm thinking that after you get to the end of the first book, and you don't know what city that is.
Yeah, I mean, could we tell by the skyline?
Well, I'm wondering. I couldn't tell by the skyline, but I didn't take a look. But I'm wondering, that book that they had, the piece of the red. What do they call the stuff that's really bad to have? The red.
The relics. The red relics.
Yeah, class red or a red whatever. Red alert relic.
Right. Apparently a Pez dispenser.
Well, no, but that book.
Duck. Yeah.
That book.
Okay. So the picture book is called "Amazing Adventures in Georgia."
So which makes me think that maybe that's Atlanta.
Yeah, it might be
or something.
And that was considered a red relic. It is a red level relic is a threat to order in the silo. I wrote that down.
That was Yep. So that would definitely be a red level. They're calling the Pez dispenser a red level relic,
right?
Because nobody knows anything about the kids book yet.
No. Well, the Flame Keepers do.
No. I mean, as far as like judicial,
Right.
those guys.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about it, and then, what's his name? The sheriff, tore the one page out of there and then burnt the rest of the book.
Right. Which was good. I think it was good that he burnt that.
I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. Why? Because why?
He's got a wife and she's pregnant, and I think he was worried about.
Well, I'm sure he's worried about all kinds of stuff.
Plus, he has that hand disease that he thinks is going to get him fired from his job. And
I think he was just being a pussy.
One thing that I would say that is kind of annoying to me about the show, and you talked about one thing that was annoying, so once I talk about mine, you can talk about yours.
I only talked about one thing. What did I talk about that was annoying about the show?
Yeah, you're going to remember that on your own.
Okay.
You can remember that on your own.
Okay.
But so I'm annoyed with, they keep talking about, we're going to send you to the mines. We're going to send you to the mines. The fuck? You got mines down there? And they mention it. It's iron ore. They've got iron ore mines. And they're going to send someone down there for 20 years.
Well, he threatens to send Lucas down there.
What are they making with the iron ore? Are they burning it, or what are they doing?
I mean, anything metal. I mean, if you want to have anything metal, you're going to have to mine, raw ore to process that ore into metal. So, I mean, it almost seems like the whole place is metal. I mean, the doors on every room are metal.
Right.
I have no idea what they're doing IT wise. Are they doing any chip manufacturing? I don't think so, because it all seems like it's very old technology. Barely a keyboard, and a monitor. There's no mice.
Right.
Have you noticed that they don't have any computer mice or anything like that?
They're all using DOS commands, I bet.
It's all like a keyboard, green screens.
Yep.
Remember they were freaking out when Jules saw that video of George. This is, hey, don't panic. This thing that you're watching me move on now is what's called a video.
Yeah.
And because he used that camcorder to that Walker was trying to figure out what it was. He used the camcorder to create the video. So I don't know what if anything they're manufacturing. I mean, I'm sure things would wear down and break and replace that are metal. They'd have to have some source of something.
I just thought.
But would you think the mines would be like at the very, very bottom somewhere? So you would think that would kind of be discovered, since she found a huge swimming pool with the silo, drilling rig was down in that water.
Yeah. We didn't see the mines ever.
No,
not
and
once.
you always think, to me, mines would be at the very bottom or
And
the very
she said,
end of
well,
something.
exactly. And they sent the guy that was watching the stars, Lucas. They sent him down there.
Yeah,
Lucas
Bernard is like, you're going to the mines.
So,
which again is completely opposite in the book. Lucas is being groomed by Bernard to take his place.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, did you remember what you didn't like? No.
We must have been talking about it. Well, I mean, there's nothing that big I don't like about it. So what is it I don't like?
Well, it's all these. It's the Raiders. You told me you didn't like the Raiders, the concept of the Raiders.
Well, no.
Right. Well, tell me why.
Because you literally have this not even being a police force. They're like brown shirts. It's like a fascist brown shirt state where you have your law enforcement that's there to do law enforcement, but you're secondary to the brown shirts, which is the real, a lot, not a law enforcement, but this other group that's really in control of everything. So everybody else is just a figurehead.
Yeah.
Until you piss off the wrong people, and then the brown shirts come get you, which is really what the what's called are.
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah. Well,
accountable to no one, really.
Yeah.
Well, except for Bernard. I suppose ultimately they'd be accountable to Bernard, even though Sims is the one that kind of runs them.
No, it was Sims' wife that was a former Raider.
Was one for a while.
Yeah.
And she makes a very good point when, she actually counters, and kind of takes Jules' side when they're talking in the apartment afterwards. And he's like, well, I told them not to shoot. When she says that she let her go.
Yeah.
When his wife says that she let Jules go, and he starts to blow up, and she's like, I know how it works. You come in here and started shooting. I told him not to shoot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was ready for 12 years. I know how that works. Yeah. So in other words, somebody's going to pop off and do something
right
stupid, which is inevitable because you get a group of people like that and they think they can't be touched.
True.
So no, I didn't care for the rate. I mean, I don't like them as a thing, but they're kind of right now. They're kind of like that bug that just kind of only keep swatting.
Right. Well, I mean, there's quite a bit of social control within the silo, and so it's just another type of social control. You don't do what we want. We're gonna send the raiders. We're gonna, and most of the people, I'd say, like 98% of the people in that place don't know they're being watched because they're calling the surveillance equipment air cleaning or air cleaning devices, air management,
like air
quality monitors.
There you go.
Yeah. So why are you breaking that air quality monitor? Was one of the lines.
Because it's looking at me.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot, and that's one thing you notice if you got to pay attention in this show really closely. If you notice in the first or second episode, there's a note that says, literally in the sheriff's file, that says, move the flowers. Because he's trying.
No, it says get more flowers or whatever.
Double the flowers. It's double the flowers. And it's like he's trying to block them out.
Because he knew about the camera.
Yeah, he knew about the camera. So.
Yeah, it's a different show.
It's a mystery show. It's very much mystery.
I'll give it to you that it's it wouldn't be anything to watch if there was no mystery, but.
Oh, I don't know. A lot of shows, they lead early on with stuff. I mean, they don't play things out like this show does.
Well, and it's timeline. Excuse me. As far as how things unfold, everything's unfolded the same way as it did in the books. So.
Well, okay. I guess now I got to start reading this book.
It's very good reading.
I don't know. I've got a lot of books on my to-do list, and that one might have to take.
I actually now that I'm done with the first book, and I know that they're literally filming the second season right now, I'm probably going to jump from this one. I was really hoping to knock out one of them from Foundation before that started up again.
Oh, I think that's a tall order.
It's a very tall order, and especially since they have been pulling material from the first book, and then also after he wrote the first 3 books, and then came back, kind of started doing some prequel stuff. They're pulling stuff from the prequel books too, or I should say as well. I think for Foundation, I'm just going to have to let that one go.
Yeah, I might.
Because it sounds like they're taking a lot more artistic licensing with how they do things with that TV show versus the book. It seems to be much more scattershot.
Oh, okay. Well, I enjoy the series. I don't probably. Oh, I do too. Reading the book might ruin it.
Well, and when will you have time to read everything that you need to read to I guess associated to the TV show. Yeah. You really have to have them all knocked out. And from what I'm guessing they're not short books.
That's an interesting concept because when I first heard about Game of Thrones, the TV show, I read an article that said it's absolutely critical that you read the books. And I started reading them, and I was about a year before the show came out, and I was able to knock them all out.
Critical that you read the books?
That's what they said, yeah.
See, then that would be an absolutely terrible adaptation of a book for a TV show if you had to have read the books.
Well, and I disagree with that statement to a certain point.
But I mean, you get what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, if hey, we got a TV show coming out that we're spending millions and millions of dollars on every episode for, blah, blah, blah. HBO is betting the farm on it, but you really need to read the books ahead of time.
Yeah.
That'd be a terrible rating.
Yeah, probably. Well, speaking of writing, how bad is this, writer's strike going to impact everything?
Shows are already getting canceled off streaming services. The ones that they were either, planning on doing have been shuttered. Ones that were had been getting greenlit.
Well,
have now been canceled.
What I don't really understand is why the late night talk shows can't run. Why they have to be shut down? Because
there's no writing.
Well, why does there need to be a writer? I mean, come on.
Every joke that they tell when they're sitting by the desk is done by a writer.
So stop. Just stop. Do something differently. Do it differently. I mean, what, do they just get to take a big vacation until the writer's strike is over?
Fortunately, I don't have to worry about that.
I suppose, Colbert and...
They all have writers that write everything that they say. I mean, Colbert's not up there making up those jokes, either as he goes along or beforehand.
Well, that's kind of sad, because I kind of thought he did.
No, those are writers that write that stuff.
Well, I'm not saying I thought he had some writers, but don't you think he's capable of cracking a few jokes?
Probably.
Yeah.
But because you have a TV show, the show is going to have writers, and then the writers get to write a certain percentage of that show. I mean, that's, the way the agreements are drawn up.
Yeah. Well, I just think that...
The last writers' strike, Jon Stewart was still hosting The Daily Show. Mm-hmm. And I think after it had gone for 6 months or something like that, they did come back with... So everybody that wasn't a writer came back and they started writing the show, started doing the show again. And they called it A Daily Show. Not The Daily Show. It was A Daily Show.
Yeah,
it was
there is a way.
Show with Jon Stewart. But, but the deal was... So they were saying it wasn't The Daily Show, because that had writers. Mm-hmm. So they were doing A Daily Show, and it was very stripped down and frankly, very bad.
So, I mean, the writer's strike then not only holds the writers hostage, it holds the cameramen and everybody basically that works on that show.
It doesn't hold the writers hostage because it's the writers that are on strike.
Well, but it puts a lot of other workers in a bad position.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even the janitors, the people that sell, beer at these places or whatever. I mean, it puts everybody out of work.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. But they felt they needed a strike because they weren't getting what they felt they deserved in their contracts.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm sure it's a bad situation for them. But when I think about the snowball effect,
but I want my TV show.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the people that work in these studios.
There definitely is a halo effect.
Yeah, there's a halo effect
for other people that. But my guess is that the janitors, as you mentioned, and the other people, depending upon who they are on a show or whatnot, they're not punching a clock. They're paid a salary. So it's not like these people. It's not like everybody's. It's not like it's pandemic stuff where everybody's literally out of work.
Well, I feel like it's kind of a shitty situation for others. Yeah. Okay. Well, should we move on to Strange New Worlds? Talk about that for a bit?
Let's. We should have watched the last episode before we started this so you could have seen it.
Oh, I didn't know there was another episode. There's 4 now total?
1. Yes.
Okay. So really
because you've seen 3.
Yeah. So I saw the timey-wimey one.
Should we push pause and watch the 4th episode real fast since you want to talk about Strange New Worlds?
Yeah, if you want to. I mean, it's 8:30 on a Sunday night.
That's fine. I'm not going to do anything more anyway.
Okay, fine. There we go. Push pause.
Actually, I have to push stop. Bye, everybody. So, what you're saying is you wish you were a man.
What? Where are you getting that from?
From your drooling over your photo album that I just saw.
Oh, give me a break. No, it's not.
You were looking at cream stuffed donuts.
The Mango Tango from Bear Scat. It's amazing, and apparently you don't think the same.
And women who look like they have big.
I admire people that have good muscle development. So yeah, I was showing some pictures off of people I know, and Scott was like, gross.
That was on our what do you call it on
we're on a break.
Our concession.
Yeah, we're on a break.
Not concession. They always call that. Like long plays and stuff. We'll have intermission.
Well, yeah, kind of a long intermission because we watched a whole show.
Well, we had to get up to snuff.
Well, did we really? Because Strange New Worlds is not it's more episodic. It's episodic.
What do they call them? Bottle episodes.
Bottle episodes. I've never heard that.
Yeah, every episode in a bottle.
Oh, okay.
Self-contained.
Yeah, self-contained. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Bottle episodes.
Yeah.
Well, then plus now you're caught up.
Yeah, it's a good show. Love that show. It's it reminds me a lot more of the original series than any of the other ones, and it feels good.
It feels like Star Trek. Does it feel like Star Trek?
It does feel like Star Trek. Yeah, it does feel like Star Trek.
I only talked about it earlier because I hated hearing that all the time about people whining about Discovery. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. Actually, I think you said that once too.
Yeah, I said that, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't feel like Star Trek. It is Star Trek. That's all that matters.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Well, we're on the same page.
Doesn't matter what you and I think. It matters what the people who were writing the episodes and getting paid to do so think.
I will say this about the latest